What's going on, everybody? Living to learn. Just here once again, another video, another Monday, and 2023, it's here. So let's get started. First and foremost, as I always try to do, just want to say thank you to everyone who supported me this far. Shout out to all the content creators out there. On any level, because this consistency thing, being consistent and coming and doing this on a regular basis is not easy. And so I just want to tip my hat to those of you who have been doing this long before I got started, and for those of you that are doing it right now. It's not easy, but what do they say? If you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. And that's just kind of how I feel about this. And so I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to do it. And I'm glad to have some people to talk to, right? I'm glad to have some subscribers and some individuals that are actually watching these videos. And so that's very helpful to me. It's encouraging. And it gives me that boost that I need sometimes because, like I said, this isn't, it's not an easy thing to do. And, but hey, nothing worth having comes easy, right? I think I made a video about that last year. Go check it out if you're interested. But that's just a fact, right? Anything that's worth having is just not going to come easy. There's going to be some work involved. There's going to be some questioning of yourself and your commitment, right? Like looking at yourself in the mirror. Hey, is this really what you want to do? Are you sure this is what you want to do? Do you want to take this on? And if the answer is yes, then you just continue, right? And, if the answer is no, then you have to find out why, right? It's just really that simple. Few things we can control more than ourselves, right? Arguably, there's nothing that we can control more than ourselves. And so we have to decide how we respond, right? Just this weekend, right? This weekend was interesting. I had to work. It was a work weekend. And, had a couple of appointments, went good. And, the next day, I'm on my way to another appointment. I get a call that, they want to cancel. Something happened. They talked to someone or they got scared or they just, who knows, right? And, the appointment that I was on my way to, it was far from where I live. And so, I got that news on the way over there. Trying to figure out, how am I going to save that? And then show up to my appointment and it turns out that they canceled. So I drove about 2 hours out of my way, essentially for nothing. But again, like I said, I get to control how I respond. Was it for nothing or was it an opportunity for me to learn something and take something away from it? You see, I'm trying to develop this attitude where no matter what happens, it's not a waste of my time. Okay, I get to take something from it. And I would encourage you to take on that same attitude because that's going to keep us from getting into a place where we begin to feel sorry for ourselves. I'm not saying it's not okay to get upset or feel frustrated when things like that happen, because it is frustrating. It can be discouraging, but we take hold of that, right? I take hold of that emotion, I take hold of that response, and I look at it and I say, okay, what is going to give me the best outcome? What about this is going to benefit me the most? And that's just how I approach it, And the other reason why I'm sharing this is so that this channel, my social media, Live to Learn Coaching, it's not, I'm not trying to paint a perfect picture for you, okay? I experience this life just like you do, okay? It doesn't always go smooth. It doesn't always go my way. Right? It doesn't always happen the way I want it to happen. Okay, and that's why that's why I like to share these things with you, so that you know that I'm not just giving you advice, right? This isn't just me like just telling you a bunch of stuff. This is me sharing with you things that I actually have to wrestle with and I actually have to apply to my life on a daily basis. And it's not always easy. And I don't always want to do it. You know, sometimes I just want to sulk. Sometimes I just want to say, hey, you know what? Nah, it wasn't me at all. Like, it was all them, you know. But how do I win from that? You know, how do I gain from that? How does that do anything good for me? Right? And so I like to share these things. Not because I'm glad they happened, but because they happen. And I want you to know you're not alone when those things happen to you. You're not the only one. And most importantly, that you know, if I can respond in that way, if I can take hold of those things and I can look at it that way, so can you. Right? That's the purpose of what I do. You know, as a life coach, as an aspiring life coach, help people just take a different perspective. Just even the slightest adjustment on our perspective can make a world of difference. Even the slightest, adjustment of how we approach things and what our attitude is towards certain things and things that happen to us. It makes a world of difference. And I know that because that's what's happened in my life. That's how I've gotten to this point. If it wasn't for that, this channel wouldn't even exist. You know, some of you would never even know who I am. You'd never even, have heard of me or seen me before. But that's what got me here, right? So I see the results of working toward making those adjustments. And when I come here and I share, I want you to be encouraged to also consider that so that you can see those results for yourself and where that might lead you, what that might mean for you, right? Because this isn't about me. I mean, I don't record these videos I don't watch them and say, oh, let me listen to myself. That's not what this is about. I'm trying to give this to you. I want you to have this, and I want you to be able to do something with it. And so, that's why I share these things. But the main thing I wanted to talk about today was just the importance of questions, the importance of being curious, right? And again, things are top of mind right now because I'm in sales and because I'm training and because I'm always trying to practice and get better at perfect my craft, right? But the best salespeople have questions, right? They ask great questions and they know when to ask them. Okay. Now this is a really tough skill to develop. And then there's some people out there who just have it. They just got a natural inclination towards it, right? And those are the people I just look at and I say, man, that's awesome. I don't think I'm one of them. Okay. I got to work at this. But the idea behind the questions, okay, two things, right? When you ask somebody questions, right, and you're really listening, okay, because a part of asking good questions is being a good listener, right? It's not just putting stuff out there. It's listening for an answer as well, right? And there's this great quote in one of my favorite books, and I've talked about this book a bunch of times on this channel, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, where he says, listen first to understand, then to be understood, right? And people can tell the difference. Let me tell you, when you ask a question and you're intently listening to their reply, people can tell the difference. They know whether you've asked a question and you're just waiting to respond, or if you asked a question because you really want to know their answer. You really care about what they have to say, right? And that's going to make a world of difference. And that's just not in sales, that's in relationships, right? That's just in our society. In fact, I think there's so much division and there's so much, animosity and people butting heads because we don't ask enough questions, right? I mean, if you were to ask anybody, hey, what do you want most out of life? What would be an ideal situation for you and your family? Questions like that. I promise you 99% of us are all going to have the same answer or a similar answer. Which makes it kind of funny, right? That we think we're so different. We think we have so much that's not in, we feel like we don't have anything in common. In reality, we have a lot more than we think. We just don't ask, right? And there's a couple of reasons why we don't ask. We don't ask because we don't want to know, or we don't ask because we think we already know, right? So I challenge you to go and, it could be anywhere. I mean, maybe there's someone you see on a daily basis, or maybe there's a group of people that you see, or maybe you come across people in a certain area and you think you got them figured out. You take one look at them and you think you got them figured out, right? We're all guilty of that, right? It's human. We're human. We make assumptions, we make judgments. It's unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. Especially the assumptions, because assumptions that's just the laziest way to draw a conclusion. And that takes no effort. Right? We're just pretty much we're just assuming. We're making the answer up. We're saying, well, I know the answer already. Not to say that you're never right, but ask. Ask that person. Find out if what you thought about them is true. And for some of us, this is the most uncomfortable thing you can think of, right? Some of us are just going to dismiss what I'm saying, and it's going to go in one ear and out the other. Like, I'm not asking nobody nothing. All right, no problem. You don't have to. But what if you found out some things that were actually a lot different than what you would have thought, right? I mean, it's amazing when you actually, talk to people, right? You have a conversation with someone, you ask them questions, you're actually interested in what they have to say and how they respond, right? Not only does it give you a better understanding of who that individual is, but you begin to learn some things, right? And people they want to be heard. They want to be listened to. They want to feel like they're being heard, like they're being listened to. I mean, look at this world we live in. We're all on our phones. We're all on social media. We're all watching YouTube, right? We just get into our little bubble, and we have our own little world that we get into. We don't need to leave it, right? I mean, I go to the gym and everybody's got headphones on, right? Nobody wants to talk. Nobody wants to be talked to. Just let me get in my zone and do my thing. And for some of us, there's some comfort in that. Some of us are introverted, so we just kind of lean toward that, right? But it stands out even more in a world like the one we live in a society like the one we live in, when you actually show interest in someone else, right? Another individual. I mean, if you're, let's say you're interested in someone for a relationship, right? I mean, what better way than to ask them questions? Find out about them. People want to talk about themselves, right? We love to talk about ourselves. We love to hear our name being said. I mean, these are like, this is science, right? This is like, there's psychology behind that, right? That's why in sales, it's mandatory that you have good questions that you lead in with. It's mandatory that you build rapport, because that's the only way you're going to get people to put their guard down. I walk into someone's house and, hey, this is a great picture. Where did you get it from? Oh, really? Oh, that's awesome. Do you collect art? Oh, that's great. Yeah, well, you picked out a good piece here. Wow, that looks nice. Those types, it's like, and those are things we can do on a daily basis, right? Where's the curiosity? Where did that go? When we were kids, we were curious about everything. We wanted to know everything. And then as we get older, we kind of lose that, right? But there's power in questions. There's power in wanting to understand and wanting to know, right? And not only for us, but for the individual that we're connecting with, right? And so this year, that's one of my goals. I want to ask more questions, not just at work, but just, being out and about, when I go to the gym or when I go to the store, hey, where did you get that watch? Or, hey, why did, that's a cool chain you're wearing, or what does that mean? What does that say on your shirt? Just stuff like that. Maybe that's just me because I'm just a social person anyway, but I'm definitely going to make that one of the things that I want to get better at this year. And so, there's power in questions. Let's not walk around acting like we already know what's going on. Let's actually find out. I think this world needs more people who are willing to ask and find out about another person rather than just assuming or just drawing their own conclusions. That doesn't take any effort. That doesn't take any, it doesn't take any real intelligence to do that. Anyone can do that. We can just decide how people are, or we can ask and find out. No, why not? So anyway, that's just what I wanted to share today. And I hope it's helpful. And, every time I do these videos, I hope they're helpful. And again, I just appreciate you watching. And again, if you have any suggestions for future videos, any topics that you want me to cover, please, drop it in the comments. And continue to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And appreciate all of you.